My name is Mark Jensen. I'm the manager of behavioral health here at QuadMed. Today's focus is going to be reducing stress while working from home. We are now about a year plus for many people working from home. Many people have made the transition pretty fluidly. Some people may have struggled in the beginning and then kind of found their footing. And there's still others out there that are struggling with working from home. So we wanted to be able to talk about some tips here for you that you can use. Some might be new, some may be things that you just have forgotten about, and maybe a good reminder. So we'll get started. There's really the 6 points I want to focus on today. So setting a schedule, creating a dedicated workspace, prioritizing our challenging tasks, creating a network and staying connected, rewarding ourselves, and then, the most important thing is protecting our sleep. So we can go to the next slide. So the first thing we want to do is set a schedule. I think one of the challenges we have is when you work from home, you kind of lose that routine of getting up and going to work and then, shutting down from work and coming back home. So we want to start to make sure that we have that schedule set, but, being flexible and understanding that our time, may have to shift here and there due to constraints either within our schedule or other people's schedules. We are also routine-based people. Human beings need routines. We really thrive on structure and routine. So you want to make sure in that schedule that we start and end with a good routine. Maybe every morning I wake up and have a cup of coffee, or at the end of the day, I write down everything that I need to do for the next day, and then I actually shut down my computer and kind of go through that routine. It's important too, as part of that routine, is that we get dressed. It's the nice thing about working from home is that we can wear whatever we want, but you want to make sure that we're, making that change in the morning because it really does signal to ourselves that, hey, now I'm going to start something new, and it's important that we do that. And then the last point here is really we need to take breaks. So make sure we're scheduling breaks into our day. We need that time to just kind of refresh and refocus. So just a 5-minute break, it can be good throughout the day. And then if we have the ability to really take a good lunch break, making sure that we kind of remove ourselves from our workspace and enjoy that lunch, and so that we can get that full break, But obviously I understand schedules are very tight at times, and that may not be an option. But when we do have that option, let's make sure that we're following through with that. The next is creating a dedicated workspace. It will enable you to keep yourself oriented to your work by providing an office-esque environment. So, basically we want to be able to create that home environment so when we walk into it, we get that feeling that this is work, and we're able to separate that from our personal lives. So you want to choose an area, that has good lighting, if you have that possible. Make sure that you have a dedicated workspace, desk, table space that you're only going to use for work. It's really important too, if you have a few people working from home or people in school while you're there, that you all have your separate spaces. Not everyone's just kind of piled together. Make sure you have everything you need in that space, so you're not having to kind of wander around the house to find things as you go. And then if you have a door, in a separate room, make sure you shut that so you do keep that safe, that space to yourself. And then also understanding, especially, with the kids that are home from school, that are, learning from home, there's going to be distractions, and we have to understand that. And so we would just want to figure out how can we minimize those in any way possible, but also understand that they're going to happen, and we have to just be able to flow with that. The next is going to be prioritizing our challenging tasks first. A lot of times we get overwhelmed with the amount we have to do, so we tend to maybe look at, let's just knock off some easier things, but then we got that big project that's still kind of facing us. So we really want to start to work on that and prioritize that first. We may want to look at, how do I break this bigger task down into more smaller manageable pieces? Just so be able to spend that time and just prioritize that. If you have things that are urgent, making sure you're taking care of those things first. But really, you want to be able to schedule yourself in a way that, all right, I'm going to be able to get this big project done, even though it may take me, these smaller steps. In the end, I'll get it done. And part of that is knowing yourself too, and knowing when you work at your peak. For many people, working in the mornings is really their peak productivity. So making sure that you're scheduling those things in to work at that time so that you're working at your best. Uh, Another important thing here is to stay connected. And I think that's probably been the biggest struggle we hear, is just that feelings, that I'm alone. When you work from home, you're not leaving your house, and if you don't have a lot of people around you, then you get that isolated feeling and feeling alone. So you want to make sure you are creating that supportive network. So it could either be through coworkers, maybe other people that are working from home, like-minded individuals, friends, family. You want to make sure you have that network around you, and make sure you're scheduling time, to meet with those people. Things are starting to open up a little bit, which is nice, but we still have things that we need to be aware of. So we want to make sure we're doing this in a safe manner. So if you can get together face to face with people, great. But if you're still kind of stuck in that, I still need to do virtual, make sure you're scheduling those times in. I have here, leave time in your team meetings if you're a leader to check in on how everyone's doing. I know for at least my team, we spend a good amount of time right in the beginning, just checking in with each other and seeing how everyone's doing, just getting updates, just more kind of that smaller, personal chit chat of really kind of just reconnecting with people during this time. And then make sure you're scheduling, maybe it's a coffee break. Maybe you take 15 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you can do in your schedule, to have coffee with another colleague. Or, you do an online, at the end of the day meeting for everyone that just is more just relaxed and really not work focused. Reward yourself. Rewards make us feel good, and drives us to do more and drives us further. It's a positive reinforcement for doing things that we need to do, sometimes very hard tasks. And you need to do it because, you deserve it. We need to reward ourselves for accomplishing big things, for accomplishing small things. It just helps us know that what we're doing, is beneficial. So it can take any example that you can think of for yourself. Maybe it's just taking a walk. I'm going to reward myself once I get through this, PowerPoint presentation, that I'm going to go take a 5-minute walk. I'm going to maybe just sit down and just pet my dog for a few minutes. Maybe there's a bowl of ice cream I can have. It's whatever you feel like is best rewarding for you. Although it seems simple, using these really do help us get the job done. And it really does help us feel fulfilled for what we're doing. And then finally, the last thing we'll talk about here is sleep. We want to make sure that we are protecting our sleep. So getting only as much sleep as you needed, that is needed. So you make sure that once you feel rested, that you're getting out of bed and starting your day. Keep a regular sleep schedule. We can't say this enough. Go to bed at around the same time every night, get up at the same time every morning. You want to make sure that's consistent. That's when we'll get our best sleep. Don't try to go to bed unless you're feeling sleepy. Don't try to force yourself to fall asleep. We're going to make sure that you're falling asleep when you feel that you can fall asleep. A couple of things here, avoid caffeinated beverages after a certain hour, and that really just depending on kind of each person of when that time is. And then avoid alcohol in your bedtime as well. So those are things that are not going to help us have a restful sleep. You want to make your bedroom conducive for sleep. If your home office happens to be in your bedroom, it's making sure that you can kind of close that space off so you're not just staring at your desk thinking about things you need to do the next day. Again, stay away from screens right before bedtime, so don't be looking at your phone, iPads, computers, TVs. Those emit lights that are going to keep us up. And then deal with your worries before bedtime. I'm a big proponent of journaling before bed to be able to get all those thoughts out of your mind, creating a to-do list for the next day, knowing what I need to do at that, so when I wake up, I can start to do that. So I'm not having those thoughts at night thinking, well, I need to do this, I need to do that, or I didn't do this, I didn't do that. Those tend to keep us up. So we just want to make sure that we have either written those down so we can deal with them the next day, or if there is something we can do about it before we go to bed to take care of that as well. So I think it's really important, it's learning overall is that we need to just kind of have that separate workspace, that personal space, and making sure that you're really working at, separating those two. It's important just to be able to get through the day. I thank you for your time. So again, thank you for joining us for this Mental Health Awareness Week of the month, but our focus on this week just on those emotional well-being breaks. So again, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.